Welcome back, everyone, to the Colin Scroggins Studios. It's Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. What a way to kick off Sunday night when we just got wrapped up with office hours with Kendall Mills, Anson Hunley, Danielle McCoy, and Joseph Kegler. Excellent show. Glad we got to hear them, man. They are funny and a great cast of characters and a part of the Georgia Alabama Sports Live family. We appreciate what they do for the kids, for their respective schools, and, of course, what we do here, man. And I think it's really awesome. So, with that being said, let's talk about what's going on today. We got a jam-packed show today. I got rankings. I'm dropping Big Frosty. Frosty's here. He's back. And guess what? We're talking rankings. Not much change, but we're talking also standings and seeing who's in the playoffs right now. Starts this week for some Alabama schools, also some Georgia schools. We're going to get into that and seeing who's got what left, who has a chance to make the playoffs for the teams remaining still with regular season games. Calvary, Pacelli, and Brookstone could not get that out. But that is all I am saying, is that we are excited about baseball playoffs being here. You can like us on Facebook, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Glenn Smith, Chevrolet GMC, Houston Clinic, and Coca-Cola. I also got special guest, Phil Jones from ITG Next. That's right, the living legend himself. He comes on to talk about his history, his background, and this potential partnership that we're going to have with him. It drops here in just a little bit. I had so much fun talking with the legend himself, and he has accomplished pretty much what I want to do in this industry, and glad that he sees what we're doing here at Georgia Alabama Sports Live, understands this area and how much talent's here, and he says, man, this is a hotbed, and he can't wait to come on throughout the year. He is going to be a staple on this Georgia Alabama Sports Live show. We're going to drop Houlihan Highlight of the Week nominees, where we're going to be at this week. Great show in store for you. But I do want to talk first about the Columbus Lions. How about those Lions? 79-0. I'm just talking about absolute woodshed and child abuse. You can say police should have been called. Someone should have reported them. It was just an absolute nightmare for Tri-City River Gators. 79-0. Damian Daniels and crew were lights out. Pierre Coffey offensively was great. Blaine Espinoza stepping in, looking like his brother, right? I mean, he was great in that first half. 4 touchdown passes. The defense led by DeAndre St. Brown and Jacobin Ware, and that secondary, unbelievable. And they had no problem with them. And they'll move on as they start league play this week against rival Wheeling. The Wheeling Miners out of West Virginia come to the Civic Center this weekend, and we can't wait. How about the halftime show? Tonio Armani, sensational. From this area, blew up, has an incredible voice. Many people have heard his viral songs. And the Carver Band playing his song while he's singing. It's one of the best, if not, in my opinion, the best halftime show we've ever seen in Columbus sports history. And glad that we got it on the Columbus Lions YouTube channel. Glad that I was able to be there and be a part of it. Mike Peacock, Dave Platt on the call. They were great as well. Just an excellent day. The crowd was there. The community was in full support. And we are looking forward to week 1 of the AAL coming up this weekend against Wheeling. The Lions also had their draft. If you missed it, you can go watch it on Shady Sports Network. Also, they picked 4 players from the lower league, AAL2, and we were able to catch up with Damian Daniels. Go look on our Instagram. He talked about the 4 players he took, including 2 cornerbacks, 1 defensive lineman, and a wide receiver with the 4 athletes he took. And they're excited about the draft. And now, guess what? It was live from the Beck Center, and we are heading straight into week 1 against Wheeling. All right, well, we're going to take a break. When we come back from break, it's Phil Jones times here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. It's ITG Next, Phil Jones Partnership. Here's episode 1 of that on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live show.
Big things are happening at Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika.
Get massive savings on our entire lineup of Chevys, from Silverado trucks, Tahoe, Suburban, and Traverse SUVs. Every model side by side for comparison. Plus, we always have a fresh selection of late model pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs ready to roll with huge discounts. Smart people from all over the USA buy from Glenn Smith Chevrolet.
Online 24/7 at glensmith.com.
Get ready to smile.
Hello, everybody. This is DJ Jones with the Sports Visions Morning Show for the best in local, regional, and national sports news weekdays from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
You can find the Sports Visions Morning Show on Facebook, YouTube. Also, you can listen to us on Apple and Spotify by typing in the Sports Visions Morning Show, and download the Sports Visions radio app right now in your app store today.
Sports Vision 92.1. We are your hometown sports guys.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show from Houlihan's. Obviously, I'm not in Houlihan's right now because this is a segment that I had to record a little bit earlier in the day, as I made mention just a little while ago. And this guy's a busy man, so I had to get him when he was hot, and I got him right now. And I cannot wait to talk about, as I made mention earlier in the show, this guy is who I strive to be. He has been in this industry for a long time. He has changed a lot of people's lives and helped bring coverage and exposure to a lot of athletes. And he's my good friend, and I really feel like everyone's good friend, Phil Jones of ITG Next. Phil, how are you, man?
Thrift, what an introduction, man. I tell you, it's going to be hard to live up to that. But thank you very much, buddy. That's kind of you.
No doubt about it, man. A lot that we're going to be getting into. But first things first, Phil, a lot of people that are – again, in this industry, know who you are, know what you've accomplished. But in our area, there may be some new audience. There may be someone that doesn't know what ITG Next is, doesn't know who Phil Jones is. So without further ado, man, like we always do with our guests, I'm not going to interrupt you. I want you to tell your story, where you're from, and where you're at now. So don't leave anything unturned. Floor is yours, Phil.
Gotcha. Well, and again, I appreciate the invitation. And listen, you guys do a great job as well. I respect the job that you guys do. So right back at you. But thanks for having me. So after a 20-year career in the newspaper business, which had nothing to do with sports, I had to make sure the paper was sold where I was at. It took me up to the Atlanta area. I had to make sure it got out and sold. So anyway, got out of the newspaper business, came back to that was up in Atlanta. And I'm originally from Tifton.
Okay.
Came back, made my way back to South Georgia, and hooked up with Mark Dykes in ITG Next. And been doing this now for, close to 20 years. And we cover nothing but high school sports. It's all we do. And we really, even though we're based in Valdosta and consider South Georgia our home, the great thing about us at ITG Next, we really don't leave any stones unturned. We cover the entire state of Georgia, from the North Georgia line to South Georgia, East. We haven't really gotten a lot of East Georgia or West Georgia, but mainly North Georgia, South Georgia, Middle Georgia. It's kind of been our thing. And again, just it's been a labor of love, but we also have been fortunate to make a business out of it. And you know what? There's not a day goes by where I don't wake up ready to go. And I tell you, what do they say? If you love what you do, it's not work. And that's certainly my situation here with ITG.
No doubt about it, man. And I when I tell kind of my story, Phil, about how I got this started, it's kind of similar to how you and Mark, I mean, talking about, especially back in the day, it used to be In the Game magazine. And It was a way to be able to get people featured and, really high school athletes get featured in their hometown and make it hyper local, make it about them, make it about what's going on within the Columbus, Phoenix City area, what's going on in Valdosta, what may be happening in Savannah. So what was the mindset in that In the Game magazine? Then y'all started transitioning. Y'all started going to the digital aspect of it and been very successful at that. But what led you to the magazine aspect and then transitioning to now what y'all do with ITG this year?
Yeah, and I'll give credit where credit's due. That was Mark Dykes' baby, the magazine, and that was really where it all began.
Right.
We had none of this, the digital side of things. We didn't do any of the live stream or anything. It all started with a print magazine that was and continues to be highly successful. And I think the thing is, to answer your question, it was fulfilling a niche.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of people that cover college sports. There's a lot of people that cover professional sports, but we wanted to hone in and cover the student athletes of high school sports. And that's really across all sports. We make no bones about it. Football, of course, is our backbone, as it is the backbone of high school sports across the state. And listen, and that's we're not turning our nose down to any other sports because it's all great. But high school football in Georgia, there's nothing like it. But we started with the print magazine, and again, we did distribute it across the entire state. Now, digitally, you can get it anywhere. On our digital platforms, but we do a print version that we pretty much distribute to the South Georgia and the Middle Georgia markets. It started out on a monthly basis. We now do it bi-monthly, one edition every couple of months. But it just fulfills a niche. Like I said, if there still is a need for a print magazine, which is kind of a rarity in the world of print media.
Right.
We've been able to make it work, both with our readers, our advertisers, and from a coverage standpoint. And so that kind of led, and we crept into the digital portion, as you mentioned earlier. And again, we get between 6 and 8 million views a month, and it's just been just a labor of love, very successful though. And again, we're committed to one thing and one thing only, and that is the coverage of, promotion of, exposing the great things that make high school sports so great. And of course, that's the student athletes, the coaches, the fans that are all involved with high school sports.
What made you want to get back involved with high school sports? Why did you feel like that was your calling? And who are some of your mentors, Phil, that have been there along the way?
I tell you, it's a great question. I grew up in Tift County, and I was a rabid Tift County Blue Devil fan. I had a chance, and I guess I need to back up a little bit. Before I got with Mark and ITG Next, we actually met at a Tift County Blue Devil game. I was actually able to do Tift County Blue Devil football on a local outlet called SOVI, Southern Vision Sports. Okay. And I did it was committed to Tift County Blue Devil football only. And it was a tape delayed deal where we would record the games and show them on the local station on Saturday and Sunday mornings. But I was able to do that on the TV side every week for Tift County Blue Devil football. And then that parlayed into doing Tift County Blue Devil football on the radio. And that was with a couple of local radio stations in Tifton and South Georgia. So I was able to do that. But, that's where it really began. And it was, to be honest with you, Mark has really been my mentor. When Mark and I met, it was the last Tift County Blue Devil football game I was going to do. And I was sitting there wondering, what am I going to do next? I want to stay in sports. Listen, I'm a man of faith. I don't hide that. And I was like, God, you got to help me here. Got to show me a sign. And it was the Tift County Valdosta game. It was going to be the last game at that point that I was going to be able to do on the TV side. And at halftime, there was a guy came up to me and said, "Hey, Phil." I said, "Are you Phil Jones?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Hey, I'm Mark Dykes with In the Game, High School Sports Magazine." And it was, you can say it was a chance meeting. I think it was meant to be. And but Mark invited me in. At the time, Mark did a radio show promoting the brand. So he brought me in. We co-hosted the radio show with Mark. I did it with that. And I tell you, it just grew from there. So Mark has been a great mentor to me, really, kind of showing me the ropes of both the sales side. And that's what I do for us. I sell advertising for us. I'm an on-air personality. I do a lot of the streaming. Of course, I host, some coaching shows. And of course, we can get into that. But, it's just, again, really a lot of it, what I do has been self-taught. And just really, it has grown for a love of the game, to be honest with you. Growing up, I've always been a high school sports fan. I've loved the sport. There's something about high school sports that's really special. It's completely set apart from the college and pro side. And so, again, just able to do what I love, a natural love, which is high school sports.
No doubt, man. And you, again, pioneer, you and Mark, and everyone knows, especially when it comes to football. And that is, you're right, the bread and butter of not just around here locally, but really for the state, for Georgia and Alabama. That drives, but people like the ancillary sports for sure. But
absolutely.
it all starts with the football, no doubt about it, Phil.
And when you do your rankings, I'm going to go here first. You know, we get a lot of backlash because how we do our rankings, Phil, it's unique where we're at. We have 16 schools or 15 schools that we have in our coverage area. We got 7A, 2 7A schools. We got a couple 6A schools. We got 2A schools. We got several private schools. And you got to jump them all in together and throw them in a ranking. And I'm like, all right, how do I do this? Because head-to-head, especially in football, I would not take a 7A school over a private school. But I'll tell you this, a private school in its league is a lot better than that 7A school in its league. So in my opinion, I put the private school and I base them off their league, their competition within their league, their strength of schedule, and then we go about ranking. I know it's a little bit different for you because you get to go by classification. It makes it a little bit easier. But when you go about doing your rankings, what's your criteria? How do you go about it, and how do you make people are going to get mad regardless? So I think you probably just got deaf ears when it comes to the comments when you put out those rankings.
Yeah, let me tell you, I have found, first of all, that nothing brings out the passion
like a ranking.
Like the rankings do. It is unbelievable. If you want to generate comments, just rank
no doubt.
things. And I've learned, when I first started this, you kind of take it personal. And I learned very quickly, can't do that. Everybody loves their team. Everybody feels like their team should be number one, or at least ranked. But to answer your question, so we did it 2 different ways. Okay. So we used to do it, and of course, I'm talking about primarily. Are you asking about every sport or just the ones that we rank? Just
the ones that y'all do your rankings, not really with every sport, but like when you're going about your ranking process, how do you go about that, especially when you do statewide and you're including all the classifications?
Okay, so we started out doing it by classification. In other words, we would do a top 10 for, say, 7A, top 10 for 6A, and so forth. And then we thought, man, let's just do it, lump in all the teams because, we felt like there was a lot of, good teams being left out. But to answer your question, one of the criterias I use is if a team, and I don't care what classification, and that's been a big thing with me, I will rank a Class A team, right up there with the Class 7A team. And that's probably the biggest thing I get backlash about. Right. When people say, and I'll give you an example. This past year, we did, of course, we did the top 25, all classifications combined for high school football. And now we do that same thing with baseball. Okay. Baseball is a little bit different approach because in baseball, high school baseball in Georgia, a lot of your smaller classification schools are some of the more, are some of the more elite programs. Football's a little bit different. And I'll give you an example. I had Worth County ranked in my top 10. And it's top 25 that we do, by the way, all classifications in football. I had Worth County ranked as a top 10 team. Well, my thing on that was, okay, listen, the criteria is if I think that team is a state championship contender and they've got a pretty good shot at landing in a state championship, then I'm going to consider them a top 10 team or a top ranked team, no matter what size school they are. Right. And that's kind of been my motto. I'm not going to let how many A's you've got in front of your school name dictate where you are in the classifications, if that makes sense. Right. So I'm not going to have, so in other words, our classification, our top 25 rankings are not going to be dominated by just the 7A or the 6A and the 5A.
No doubt.
I think that's crazy. So this past year, again, to use Worth County, I could see pretty early on that they were a true state champion contender, which of course they did win the state championship in their classification. And so, at the end of the year, the way I did it, my top teams, I guess it would have been the top 8, were all the state championship winners. That's how it wound up. But basically, throughout the season, my criteria was if you're a state championship contender, regardless of what classification you are, I'm going to have you ranked. That's going to go into where I rank you. And again, a lot of people would come back and say, how can you rank a Worth County, a single A school, in the top 10? Well, it's easy. If you're competing for a state championship in your respective classification, you deserve to be ranked. That's worth something.
I 100% agree. And another team that you had in there locally, Carver. You had Carver in your top 5, man. And there's in their 2-way classification. But again, if you go, and I'm with you, Phil, go off dominance. Worth County dominated everyone in 1A. Carver really dominated everyone in 2A except for really Sumter County. And they had, a little issues with Hate-Filled Charter, but Carver was fairly dominant this year. they deserve to be up there and recognized. Obviously, if you put them against Houston County, I'm willing to bet Houston County's probably going to win. But we can't go off rankings like that because you're right. Then it would just be the 7A, 6A rankings, and nobody right across the state, like in our area, we don't have any schools that are in 6A. So in Southwest Georgia, guess what, Phil? We never see it on ITG Next, and you want to make sure the whole state's included. So I love that mindset with it. And you're right. You can't take things personal. I used to, too, and I had to learn the hard way. It's just like it's engagement, man. They're commenting. They get to have an opinion about it.
There you go. And I used to, and again, I told you early on that I used to kind of take it personal, but then I realized, wait a minute, I would rather have somebody give us a negative comment than to not comment at all.
That means they care, Phil. They care about your rankings.
That's right. They're watching. They're tuning in. They're clicking on us, and we all know what that engagement means. And let me go back to Carver for a second.
Please.
I was a firm believer, and still am, and when people would give me that argument, what do you do? And you got Carver, AA school. Listen, I will put Carver against just about anybody in the state, regardless of classification. Maybe would run into a tough time with the Bufords. Right. I don't know. I really don't. I mean, I don't know. But if there's an exception, that might be it. But still, I think Carver has been and has shown they are one of the most dominant programs in the state of Georgia, regardless of classification. And so you just throw again, I say it, the number of A's in front of the school does not matter to me one bit.
Phil, let's talk about Carver a little bit, and we'll talk a few more, subjects. And obviously, we're going to end it with why you're here and what we're looking forward to in the near future. But the Carver Tigers, man. So they get Pierre Coffey. They had that loss against Harris County. I was actually on the call the last time they lost the game, man. And it was a 12-6 game, I think, very low scoring. Since then, they are on a current 28-game winning streak. You saw them last year. They got 6 guys signed Division I scholarships. I don't know many 5 and 6A schools that have that many. And obviously, everyone knows about Jarvis, and he's an incredible guy and what he's doing and help that program stay elevated. But if you know about Carver, Phil, this is not the first time they've been successful. Going back to Dale McGee, who's the coach of Georgia State, they won a state championship in 2008. They've always been successful.
The days of Patrick Pass.
Yes, exactly. So talk about the Carver Tigers and what you think makes them so unique. And are you excited about them moving up a classification next year with all the talent they got?
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to mention. We've been talking a little bit about Worth and Carver. Well, lo and behold, it's going to be Christmas in the summer and the fall this year as we get both Carver and Worth now in the same region. If you
are you kidding me?
Wow, pinch me, baby. And so it's going to be a lot of fun covering them. But listen, to answer your question, that Carver has got that great history. You mentioned it going back to Dale McGee and all of the great, Jarvis and all the folks that have been there. I mentioned Patrick Pass, and I could reel off so many other names. So they rely, like a lot of schools do, your Valdostas, your Lowndes, you rely on that tradition. And I think once you gain that foothold, it's that foundation that Carver's got, like so many other schools. It's hard really to settle back into, just being a run-of-the-mill football program. I think you're always going to be expected to be a dominant program. You got expectations to live up to, and I think they've done a great job of that. And listen, I think this year, there's programs like Carver across the state. You know what I'm talking about, Thrift. They're just reloading, man. They don't rebuild, they reload, man. They reload, and I expect Carver to be right back up there. And we're going to have quite a treat, I think, at year's end, when Worth and Carver meet, which I think is going to be the last regular season game between those two. Yeah, it is, man. And then don't forget Sumter County, if I'm not mistaken. Aren't they in that same region as well? Maybe they're not. Maybe I misremember. You would know better than me, Phil, because honestly, while you're looking at that, that's kind of my next question. Is the reclassification. They are. Sumter is in the same region, yeah. Well, think about that. Sumter County almost made it to the state championship last year and was the game of the year, one of the best games I've ever been a part of, and that 7-6 win. But Phil, talk about reclassification and what is your mindset on the power rankings? I hear it from both sides, man. I really do. But in my opinion, you're now taking away some of those regions that may not be very strong. And I'll use Columbus as an example. Carver and Sumter were great.
I don't, and maybe Columbus High would have made it this year, but that's it. Only 3 teams from that region would have made the playoffs this year. I don't like the fact that we're taking away where the top 4 seeds don't get to get in. I would like to see the top 4 seeds get into the playoffs and then we seed them. But from my understanding, they're seeding them regardless, and there could be one region that has 5 teams or 6 teams in the playoffs. What's your thoughts on reclassification and the power ratings, Phil?
Well, let me just say, depending on who you ask, everybody seemingly got a different opinion on it. I think a lot of the scheduling, and I did a story on this a couple of months ago. I asked the coaches, several coaches around the state, did the new formula, playoff formula, did it affect your schedule? How you wanted to make up your schedule for the this season and the next season? Of course, we're on a 2-year cycle. Right. And every coach said yes, absolutely. Because obviously, as your viewers may or may not know, so teams are going to be rewarded. I'll go into this and then I'll answer your question. So the teams.
No, please do. Please explain it. Please explain it, Phil.
So the new power ranking formula that is determining who and how they get into the playoffs, the postseason, is going to be determined by winning percentage. Period. Whoever if you win, you're in, as I like to say. But there's more to it than that. It's going to be based on your opponent's strength of schedule. Okay. So, yeah, you can go 10-0, but this formula is going to take into account who it is you beat, okay, and who they beat, which is the third leg of this. It's going to determine your winning percentage, your opponent's winning percentage, and your opponent's winning percentage. So it's almost a 33 1/3 percentage breakdown with every one of those. So you can see the process that had to go into coaches determining, okay, I want to schedule teams that I can beat. Right. They got to be good teams, and they have got to be playing good teams. Now, that sounds like a lot. So I think that's going to go into a lot of who makes the playoffs and who didn't. The other part of your question that you asked, some teams going to be left out. Is it fair? Is it not fair? I'm going to take the flip side of what you were just saying and kind of give you an example of last year. So in Region 1-6A, which we are here, we're based in Valdosta. We cover the entire state, but we're based here in Valdosta. So naturally, we kind of dedicate a lot of our coverage and exposure to what's happening here with the Valdosta, Lowndes, Camden. And last year, there was 4 teams, of course, that made it as across the state. The top 4 teams in the region made it. However, if the postseason ranking formula would have been in place last year, every team, Tift County and Camden were the 2 teams that did not make the playoffs last year. They would have made the playoffs with sub 500 records. And because they came out with a good enough power ranking to where they would have been one of the 32 teams, right? Which is going to be the top 32 teams in every classification will make it. So there's a good part of it. Like you said, you feel like the top 4 teams in every region should make it. But I just think that you're going to also now have teams that maybe were not going to be one of the top 4 teams in a region. They'll now have a chance to make it. And I think that's the good side of this.
Right. And also, too, Phil, there's some regions that don't need to have 4 teams in it. And what you're mentioning, someone like Tift and Camden are getting penalized for playing in an incredibly tough region. If they're anywhere else across the state, they may win 7 or 8 games and would be in no question. So I'm with you on that. Again, you can hear both sides of it. We're going to see if it works. How about that? We get 2 years of a sample size.
That's right.
One thing I do hate is it's going to take away from some of the bigger schools playing smaller schools. We're not going to see a lot of crossover, I think, because it doesn't benefit a higher classification team playing a private school or playing a smaller classification. True. You win, really don't help your rankings. You lose, it dang sure doesn't help you. It's a lose-lose, I feel like, in a lot of their minds. And I feel like it's going to take away from some games that we maybe wanted to see, like maybe a Buford and a Carver probably will never happen, because why would Buford want to take the chance of it hurting its rankings playing a 3A school?
That's a great point, Thrift. And I'll give you an example that perfectly illustrates your point. So Worth County and Lee County right now both have only 9 games on their schedule. Okay. Now, there's been a lot of talk about why don't those 2 teams meet up and play. Well,
come on now.
Well, because it wouldn't really benefit, especially Worth. It's not going to benefit Worth. And of course, financially, yes, it would. If they went to Lee County, they'd get pretty good, part of the gate, and that would
Right.
obviously benefit. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about where it would land them as far as postseason consideration. And you've got that situation with a number of teams who have 9 games, and it does not benefit them to fulfill the 10th game in their schedule. It just doesn't mean and if anything, it would hurt them. Okay.
Right.
And that's the deal with, say, Worth County. They've got 9 games. I think Coach Jeff Hammond is he's going to go with that. He's confident with it. I've talked to him about it. And again, that's not the only example. Worth's not the only example, but that is one of the prime examples of maybe what's wrong with this postseason, this new postseason ranking formula that the GSA has put into place. You said it right, though. We've got 2 years to put this thing under a microscope, see how it works. I'm going to make a prediction.
Let me hear it.
I don't think they'll stick with it. Now, I hope they do, because there are a lot of advantages. There are some disadvantages, like you pointed out. But I think at the end of the day, the argument may very well come back to, let's go back to the top 4 teams make it in every region. Now, we'll say the new formula does reward the region winners, of
Right.
course. But you could have some region winners that are only guaranteed the 1 home playoff game. Used to be you would get at least 2 as
Right.
a region winner. So that's one of the disadvantages. But hey, fair is fair. Let's let it play out and see what happens.
His name is Phil Jones, ITG Next. He is all things, in my opinion, football around the GHSA, and they cover all the other sports. And right now they're doing their baseball rankings. But Phil, we've been here 26 minutes, man. Time flies, dude. And this is not going to be the only time you're on, because I'm excited about this. We're going to have Phil on, obviously, throughout football season, almost every week, if he's up to it. And then throughout the whole year, including starting now, he's going to be an integral part of what we talk about. And I look forward to being on your show, man, in this partnership with Georgia Alabama Sports Live and ITG, man. Much respect to what you do, and looking forward to doing this many more times, man.
Absolutely, Thrift. Again, thanks for having me on. Much respect for what you guys do. You're doing a great job, guys. Keep it up. I know you will. And I look forward to being back on the show. And, yeah, let's have you on our show as well.
Love it, man. It's Phil Jones, that legend himself. Man, what a show it's been. We've had a lot of fun here at Houlihan. Thank you to all the guests, including Phil Jones. And we will see y'all tomorrow. We got so many games going on. Region championships on the line, baseball-wise. Make sure to go to Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, Georgia Alabama Sports Live. See y'all next time. Have a good night, everyone.
Big things are happening at Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika.
Get massive savings on our entire lineup of Chevys, from Silverado trucks, Tahoe, Suburban, and Traverse SUVs. Every model side by side for comparison. Plus, we always have a fresh selection of late model pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs ready to roll with huge discounts. Smart people from all over the USA buy from Glenn Smith Chevrolet.
Online 24/7 at glennsmith.com.
Get ready to smile.
At Planet Fitness, there's strength in numbers. The number of different workouts to do.
1, 2, 3.
Different clubs to do it in. Friends to do it with.
Looking good, everybody.
There we are.
And the number of ways to recover from it all.
You got this, girl.
And it all adds up to one membership. The Planet Fitness Black Card. Access any location, bring a friend anytime, and recover in the Black Card spa.
One more, everybody.
We're all strong on this planet. Planet Fitness.
At Jack Houston Memorial Hospital, our focus is you. Even though we performed more than 1,300 joint replacements last year, we treat you like you are our only patient. Your surgeon explains your joint replacement, so nothing is a surprise. Our team knows your treatment plan, and we work together to get you back on your feet again. That's why our hospital is recognized year after year as a leader in patient satisfaction and quality of care. Jack Houston Memorial Hospital. Excellence, always.
Hello, everybody. This is DJ Jones with the Sports Visions Morning Show for the best in local, regional, and national sports news. Weekdays from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
You can find the Sports Visions Morning Show on Facebook, YouTube. Also, you can listen to us on Apple and Spotify by typing in the Sports Visions Morning Show, and download the Sports Visions radio app right now in your app store today.
Sports Vision 92.1. We are your hometown sports guys.
Houlihan serves fresh, handcrafted dishes made just the way you like them. Juicy burgers, sizzling steaks, crisp salads, and shareable appetizers set the table for every appetite. Relax with friends, celebrate special moments, or enjoy a casual night out. Hula Hands delivers great food, great drinks, and great times, with 2 locations in Columbus, downtown at the Marriott Hotel and on Sidney Simons Boulevard at the Doubletree Hotel.
Welcome back, everyone. Great interview with the legend himself, Phil Jones, and looking forward to having him on many more times, and I'll be on his show on ITG. Next, it is Mike Frost. I'm Thurk Barringer. Thank y'all so much for returning back with us here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Frosty, the snowman, his favorite time of year. He loves baseball, and he loves playoffs, and it's here. It is finally here, but we're going to talk standings for all the teams here in just a moment. But, Chrissy, throw up those rankings real quick. Number 1 team in the rankings, the Pacelli Vikings. No, I'm just kidding. Number 10, the Vikings, 7-16. Coach Matt Ward's team did pick up a win last week, as they are right now the number 12 seed in the GIAA rankings. They are in the playoffs. Remember, top 12 teams, I've said this, will make the playoffs for the GIAA. So they're right there on the threshold. That was also last week's ranking, so that could be subject to change. They got a massive series against Calvary this week. If they're able to get at least 2 wins, it could move them up the standings. If they get swept, it could take them out of the playoffs, as they just got done beating Carver and Shaw last week. Did play Central really tough, and then Columbus High went down to the wire. They got Calvary, they got CCA, and then they got a 3-game series against Strong Rock Christian. Mike, they're number 10. Jordan comes in, number 9. Don't know if Jordan makes the playoffs. I don't think they did. Did the Jordan make the playoffs? Okay, Jordan did make the playoffs this year, and they're 13-16. They'll be on the road. And how about the Shaw Raiders, 18-12? They'll also be in the playoffs. Talk about those 3 teams and who you're looking forward to, Mike.
Well, I'm looking forward to see how Pacelli does. Like you said, you brought up the big series coming up this week with Calvary Christian, who's another team that's kind of been up and down here this year. Played a really good series against Brookstone. Was able to take one. All 3 games close. It was 5-3, 3-2, 3-2. So it's going to be a good one coming up next week. You've got Jordan at number 9. They were coming in getting a 3 seed in the playoffs. They're going to be on the road first round, but they've had a good season so far from kids like Bradley Smith and Brody Catlin coming out there, being Bradley Smith being their top pitcher and their top hitter.
Right.
And then with Shaw, I mean, you've got them coming out there. Jeremiah Lovett, we saw last week against Columbus High School. He didn't play, so hopefully he's back from injury. He'll be able to come out there. Shaw will actually be hosting a first-round matchup, so we'll get to see how they do coming into the playoffs if they can make it to that second round.
No doubt about it, man. So I'm cheering for both of those teams. The Shaw Raiders, great season for Coach Dormitty's team, 12-2 in region play. And they'll be hosting a first round, not hosting, excuse me.
Yeah.
Oh, they will be hosting, excuse me. Now that that they had all the private schools taken out, which we expected they'll be hosting this weekend. Columbus High will also be hosting. We'll talk about them here in just a moment. Coming in at number 7, Smith Station, they need some help. They're going to have to probably take 2 of 3 from Auburn and try to, remember, they lost 2 of 3 against Central. It's going to be a tough one, man. I'm interested in seeing if Coach Bird's team can make the playoffs, but they're a feisty bunch. I told him, I saw him on Friday at their Impact thing, and I've really been impressed with his group and how they've gotten better each and every game. And then Calvary Christian did beat Brookstone. All 3 games came down the wire. I thought Steve Smith coached his tail off.
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the best coach games I've seen, and that's one of the best games that I think Calvary's played all year. That series alone showed that they can play with anyone. And they got a big one against Pacelli. They got 7 winnable games. If they win them, they'll be 16-14. I think top 5 in the GIAA, and who knows what could happen. They'll host the first round. Calvary right now at number 8 in those rankings. So Calvary 8, Smith Station 7, Mike. Calvary 6, Smith Station 7, Mike.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to both of them here. With Smith Station, it's again a big series there. Auburn, a top 10 team in the state of Alabama. But we've also seen them been able to have hiccups as well. Russell County beating them earlier in the season. And the way Smith Station plays, they're really young. They only have one senior that really plays a whole lot of playing time out there. You still got kids like Kanan McDonald and Evan Long that are great up the middle defensively for the Panthers. And then you go out there and you look at Calvary, the way they played this past week. One of the big things they've had problems with all year long is the pitching, as far as control.
Right.
You know, they don't give up a lot of hits, but they put a lot of runners on base. So this past series against Brookstone, really able to limit that, and that's what made all those games so close. If they can just get runners in that get on scoring position, that they kind of leave a lot of them stranded on base, they could, like you said, make a big run in the playoffs.
Top 5, Columbus High. They'll be hosting this week, and the Blue Devils 20-10. How about a 20-win season? Michael Nottman was sensational, and I really think Columbus High at least got quarterfinals written all over them.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe they can make a semifinal run or even championship. If you look at the rankings according to Max Preps, did you get the final rankings?
Yes.
Mike, what were they in their final rankings?
They are number 5 in AA right now.
Number 5.
First round, they'll be hosting the first round against Hart County.
Right. So they won't be on the road until probably at least the quarterfinals.
At least,
they'll be at probably number, it'll be 3, 6, 2, 7, 1, 8.
They'll be playing 4.
The number 4 seed.
Redan would be the number 4 team right now.
And if you look at Columbus High in 2A, Max Preps has got them in the top 14. I don't agree with Max Preps. And remember, they didn't take out the private schools.
Yeah.
And so Columbus High, 5 is what they're ranked. Why can't they make a championship run? Mike, thoughts on Columbus High and the way they played down the stretch? They've been playing excellent ball, man. They have not lost a game since going all the way back March 31st. A couple weeks ago, and that was Glenwood. They did not lose any games in the GHSA 2A classification. So what's your thoughts on them?
I believe it's going to come down to they've got pretty good pitching. Everybody wants to think like after Nottleman, it's a big drop-off. Of course, with a guy of his caliber, you're going to have a little bit of a drop-off at the high school level, but guys like Ren Smith have been able to go out there and pitch for them. Thomas Williams, Ryan Culler, the young guy that comes out there. It's going to come down to can you get with the runners on base. It's another thing like Calvary struggles with as well. Columbus also struggles with putting runners across the board. So it's going to be a big thing for them when they get to the playoffs. Can their bats wake up and be able to drive guys in? Because right now, Nottleman leading the team in both batting average and on the mound. So we're going to try and see if maybe some of the guys like Colton Hefner, who's a young freshman catcher, can kind of step up. He's had a great freshman season, still batting around 320. So let's see if maybe that lineup can get runs on the board and help them get at least to a semifinal run.
All right, let's talk about the number 4 team. That is Northside, the Northside Patriots in the playoffs. They will finish as the number 4 seed in their region, 12-6, right behind Central of Carroll. We'll talk about the standings here in a moment, but Northside still a great year.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be on the road, though, and it's going to be a very tough first-round matchup.
Yes, it will, and one of the main things that's going to hurt him is losing Sam Laney for the season on the mound with his arm. Had a UCL injury, which everybody knows that's usually going to end up with Tommy John. So hopefully he's able to still get up there and bat. But right now, as far as losing him on the mound, that's going to hurt Northside. They're going to have to depend on Jay Sheehan, Noah Thomas, and Ashton Bailey to be able to come out there, whether it's pitching by committee or just one of them having an ace of a game in the playoffs to try to see if they can advance. And hopefully guys like Chris Biggs and Noah Fair can really contribute offensively and get runs on the board and help get them leads in late games.
Hardaway's in, Shaw's in, 10 seed, Columbus High's in, and Jordan is in. Jordan will be playing at Appling County. Shaw taking on Therrell at home this week, so they both they'll be hosting. And then, as we may mention, Columbus High got Hart. They'll take on Cook. Could we get a Columbus Shaw State Championship? The number 1 team, though, in the entire state is Pierce County, followed by Thompson. They're number 3, and then the number 2 team is Morgan County. They win at everything.
Oh, yeah.
It's won a basketball championship. Football finished undefeated, and baseball's ranked number 2. Morgan County just seems like they win at almost everything, Mike. Number 3, the Brookstone Cougars, 20-4. You were there for all 3 games against Calvary. What a series that was. Brendan Neal came in clutch down the stretch. Big hits from Lowry, who was also great on the mound. And they were able to get a big-time win at home to take 2 out of 3 from Calvary. They're 20-4. Eventually, they're going to move up to number 2 in the GIAA. I don't know when, but they're ranked number 3 in our rankings, Mike.
Yeah, it was a great series all last week. I was there for all 3 games, and it was more of a, though it was mid-regular season, it was playoff atmosphere all 3 games. Coach Mathis having a coach. I mean, it wasn't just all right, let me throw this guy out there and let him throw until something goes bad. It was mainly situational throughout between Coach Mathis and Coach Smith, kind of a battle of the minds. And you saw it out there as they went Calvary went with a little bit of a pitch by committee, but you saw in all 3 games, you kind of see what Brookstone's looking like in the playoffs whenever Brendan Neal comes in to close out all 3 games in that series. They're expecting him to be able to go 1-2 innings a game to kind of shut the door down, as he was able to do all throughout the series.
Unbelievable, man. And the Glenwood Gators come in at number 2, 26-7, region champs. They'll be hosting Montgomery Academy this Friday, doubleheader, and then Game 3 will be on Saturday. The Gators, I think, are the favorite to win it all, in my opinion, in 3A classification. Trying to go for the 4-peat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a big thing. You've got Coach Fanning. You know, he doesn't rebuild. He just reloads out there with that roster. Those kids love to play for him. You see it all year long. You see it every year, whether it's the freshman team, the JV team, some of the young guys coming up with that varsity squad. You've got the athletes, a lot of dual sport athletes out there with guys like Lawrence, some of the other ones, but also on the mound with Cooper Favors. I mean, it's one of the ace guys. We saw him throw a couple times this year. Been a great pitcher for Glenwood, and I don't see them having any issue making it to the state title game, long as nothing happens, nothing quirky, nobody throws some voodoo out there on the field or anything like that. So just I expect Glenwood to be in that title and try to go for that 4-peat this year.
Number 1 team, Harris County. They'll be hosting Druid Hills. They will take on the winner of Kell and Locust Grove. Man, I felt like they got cheated out that Game 3. They went in extra innings against Stars Mill. What a series. What a competitive nature. What a job by Harris County to be in that game. I have been so proud of these boys and the way they've competed. And they should have won that series. But 21-9, they finished as the number 2 seed. They'll be hosting Druid Hills. What's your thoughts on County?
I believe County's just kind of starting to click at the right time. I mean, to go out there to 2 Stars Mill and almost take a game against the top 5 team in the state. Stars Mill has guys going to the D1 level already signed, so it's not like you just went out there and played anybody. But to go in their home turf, take it to extra innings despite a couple of missed calls by the umpires, be able to get out there and do it with guys like Dejon Elder, Hudson Clark, Colt Angel. You're still waiting to see like a little bit of the progression as far as the health coming back for guys like Caden Dimitri, JT Perkle, and then you've also got Harrison out there on the mound. So it's been a great year so far for them, and they're young. So if anything, they're going to get experience. But I expect them to at least probably make it to the quarterfinals this year. Let's see if they can maybe make it a semifinal run in a tough 4A division.
All right, so let's wrap up those rankings and pull up the standings, and let's talk about them. Chris, as we'll start first with GHSA 4A Region 3, Stars Mill, Harris County, Central of Carroll, and Northside. So on Northside, 19-9, 12-6 on the year. Central of Carroll, 12-6, 22-8. Harris County, 14-4, 21-9, and then Stars Mill, 16-2. Again, if Stars Mill would have lost to Harris County, they both would have ended with 3 losses, but the county would have the tiebreaker over them. But still, what you see that they're top heavy. And Griffin, Mundy's Mill, Jonesboro, they didn't even close.
Yeah, you noticed with that region, everybody started off playing Mundy's Mill, Jonesboro, and Griffin. Just, I think, go ahead and get those out of the way, and then it became basically playoff time from there on throughout the region.
Columbus High undefeated, GHSA 2A Region 1, Columbus High 14-0, 20-10. North Shaw 12-2, 18-12, finishes number 10 seed in the 2A classification. Jordan 10-4, 13-16, they finished number 27, and then Hardaway 7-7, 11-12 overall. They finished at number 29. Carver, not a bad year though, 6-8, 8-14. They just missed the playoffs, and they're much improved. I really like what I saw from them this year. And then you see Spencer, Sumter County, and Kendrick.
Yeah, that's another one right there. It was a tough division through the first 5. It was kind of back and forth to see who would get that 4 seed, maybe be able to sneak into the playoffs between Hardaway and Carver. Hardaway able to get a big win in the second time as Carver beat them the first time. I think that's kind of what pushed Hardaway over the edge. And I know we didn't bring them up during the rankings right now, but I've got to think about another thing with Hardaway. We talked to the coach during media days, said they were going to run. So far, they finished the regular season with 363 stolen bases on the season. So they just, if they're getting on base, they're taking off for second and third.
Let's go to the standings in AHSAA and GIAA. We got first AHSAA Glenwood Gators 7-0, 26-7. Lee Scott 5-3, 19-10. Dadeville out of the playoffs. Beulah out of the playoffs. The GIAA 3A/4A District 5. Brookstone 8-1, 20-4. Strong Rock 3-3, 8-15. You see Calvary at 4-5. Westville at 5-7. The Pacelli at 1-5. All these teams are in the playoffs right now. Yeah. Westville, the only 3A member. What's your thoughts on these two standings?
I believe right now with GIAA, I like how it's kind of looking right now because you've got two teams that are going to play each other in Calvary and Pacelli.
Right.
So to kind of focus a little bit on far as how the region flips or not and who can climb and who might drop. So if Pacelli ends up getting swept, they're really going to have to depend on that Strong Rock series the following week to try to climb back into the playoffs.
HSA 6A Area 3 Pike Road region champs. They win almost at everything, seems like. Rehoboth 5-2, really good year for them, 19-9. Russell County just missed it, 3-4, 11-18. Danny Danielson's team had it, and then they just kind of faltered down the stretch. Still a good year for them. Park Crossing did not win a region game. And then 7A, this is still going on. Auburn right now the lead, 5-1, 23-9. Central 3-2, 19-12. Smith Station 2-3, 12-21. Then Opelika. Smith Station again can take down Auburn. Central may lose to Opelika. Who knows? Smith Station could make their way in the playoffs. Right now, it's like Auburn and Central are going to get in.
Yeah, it does right now with the amount of talent Auburn has. I know Smith Station has to play 3 games with them, or like AHSAA rules where you win the first 2, you don't have to play the third one. So we'll see how that goes. See if Smith Station can try to sneak a win or 2 in there, hopefully, and hope that Opelika catches Central napping a little bit so the Panthers can try to sneak into the playoffs. Either way, it's a good season. You saw what they had last year. They're able to come up, like I said, 1 senior on the team, so a lot of youth. So you've got something to build on out there at Smith Station, and I'm kind of excited to see what they got going on for the next couple of years with Easton at AD.
Those are the standings. That's Mike Frost. It's baseball segment. When we come back, we'll talk about where we're going to be for the rest of this week and wrap up today's show here on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show from the Colin Scroggins 2 News Studios.
Hello, everybody. This is DJ Jones with the Sports Visions Morning Show for the best in local, regional, and national sports news. Weekdays from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
You can find the Sports Visions Morning Show on Facebook, YouTube. Also, you can listen to us on Apple and Spotify by typing in the Sports Visions Morning Show and download the Sports Visions radio app right now in your app store today.
Sports Vision 92.1. We are your hometown sports guys.
For the big, for the small, the short, and the tall. Peacemakers, risk takers. For the optimists, pessimists, exhibitionists. For long distance love. For the farsighted, nearsighted. For introverts and extroverts. For the thinkers and the doers. For old friends. Coca-Cola. For everyone.
Your surprisingly great rates? Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Carol Perdue in Phoenix City today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
At Jack Houston Memorial Hospital, our focus is you. Even though we performed more than 1,300 joint replacements last year, we treat you like you are our only patient. Your surgeon explains your joint replacement, so nothing is a surprise. Our team knows your treatment plan, and we work together to get you back on your feet again. That's why our hospital is recognized year after year as a leader in patient satisfaction and quality of care. Jack Houston Memorial Hospital. Excellence, always.
Big things are happening at Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika.
Get massive savings on our entire lineup of Chevys, from Silverado trucks, Tahoe, Suburban, and Traverse SUVs. Every model side by side for comparison. Plus, we always have a fresh selection of late model pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs ready to roll with huge discounts. Smart people from all over the USA buy from Glenn Smith Chevrolet.
Online 24/7 at glennsmith.com.
Get ready to smile.
Imagine a life-changing injury. Imagine the fear and unknown. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team, the only physicians in the area with advanced certification in orthopedic sports medicine, treats sports injuries with innovative techniques. The Houston Clinic has helped nearly 1 million athletes live without pain. Imagine getting back in the game. Imagine the best game of your life. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. Thank you to Mike Frost. Man, what an episode that was of Office Hours. Glad we were able to have my guy, Kendall Mills, in here doing his thing, as always. Lions, big win. They had their draft. Go back and watch it. And we had Damian Daniels on Instagram. He talked about all 4 players. So glad that they are playing on Thursday, because the River Dragons won, and they're moving on to play on Friday and Saturday. They'll be at home Saturday and Sunday. No, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, they'll be on the road. Friday, Saturday. Saturday is the if game.
Friday, Saturday's an if game. Thursday's when they start. Friday is at home. Saturday is at home. Lions are playing on Thursday. We got something right. The schedule just got released, and I'm just throwing out information right now. All I know is Lions play on Thursday. We'll have River Dragons on our show on Wednesday to talk about the upcoming season. I look forward to reaching out to Jerome Boom Boom Bouchard as they got a big win and talk about them. So that's going to be exciting. But this week, we got Calvary at Lafayette baseball tomorrow. We got Strong Rock at Brookstone on Tuesday, Calvary at Pacelli baseball on Tuesday, and Abbeville, Russell County on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we got the Druid Hills at Harris County baseball game. Thursday, Pacelli at Calvary baseball game 2, Auburn at Smith Station doubleheader. We also have Wallace State at CVCC, and then we got Columbus Lions. On Friday, Calvary at Pacelli. Dave will be there. Montgomery Academy, Glenwood doubleheader, first round playoff game. We may end up having Columbus or Shaw. We'll let you know. And then Saturday, we have Wallace at Dothan at CVCC. So busy week here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Like, subscribe, be a part of the show. Thank you to Phil Jones for tuning in as always, man. And it was a fantastic show. We got a big one coming up on Wednesday and a ton that we're going to be getting into, what's happening with playoffs and more. See you next time. Have a good night, everyone. Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show signing off.